If you want to learn how to design professional, awesome looking websites, this video is for you because I'll be showing you step by step how to design a professional looking website with WordPress. So you may be thinking, well, I've never designed a website before. I don't have any technical skills. Well, you don't need to worry because this video is beginner friendly. I show you each and every step on how to design this website. In fact, let's take a look at the final website design we'll be working on in this tutorial. So the homepage here consists of this video background. You can see here it's very dramatic, it's eye-catching, and if I scroll down here, we also have a brief description of what this page is about, and over here on the bottom it also has the latest post, again in a subtle but beautiful layout. Now what I've done here is I've also created an alternative homepage just in case you're not a fan of the video backgrounds. So let me show you what that page looks like. So this is also the homepage that I've just replaced with this image right here. So in your designs now, you can actually use this design and change this image here to whatever image that you want to use for this design. So take a look at this design and use it as a framework. So you can replace all this with your own text and your own images. So if I scroll down here, it's pretty much the same here at the bottom. But the only difference is this one here is an image and this one here is a video background. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the inside pages. So if I come over here to the About page, we see here that we have this striking image and a very basic, heading here. And I've also introduced a section divider here. Again, it's very subtle. And we also have what is known as Parallax. So if I scroll down here, the content is showing while the image is disappearing in the background. So again, we have a brief description here of the About Us, and on the bottom here we have these beautiful images and also the social media icons. Great, so now let's move on to the services page. So I'm going to click here, and this is the services page, and again it's very subtle. We have a nice image here in the background, but our text here is really showing, and we also have a video here which introduces the services. But if you don't really want to use this video, you can go ahead and delete it, and I'll show you how to do that. Now on the bottom here we have the latest projects, and again, this is a nice, beautiful design. Now let's move on to the blog page. So if I click here, and the blog page again is very subtle. We have a nice image here in the background, and we've actually changed the design of this blog page and went for a darker design. So over here, we can see the background here is dark and our posts are really standing out. Right, finally, let's take a look at our contact page, and our contact page consists of a contact form and also the address. And then on the bottom here, we also have the map. So this is the design that we'll be working on in this tutorial. I'm also giving away this website absolutely free, so you can go ahead and use all these layout designs in your own project. So it's 100% free. So once you watch this, there's a link in the show notes which you can go to and download these page layouts, and you can start using them right away. In case you're wondering who I am, my name is Augustine, better known as Mac. I am a content creator, and I'm also part of the Elegant Themes content team. I'm a content producer, and I also create quite a lot of videos on my own channel as well on how to design websites using WordPress and also how to make money with your websites. Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to need in order for us to design this website. So first of all, we're going to need a domain name, hosting, and then finally, we're going to need Divi, which is the page builder or the software that we're going to use in order for us to make our website look professional. Now, I have a fantastic bonus for you. If you use my affiliate links to buy either Divi or the hosting, I'm going to give you 3 courses that are worth over $300. So these courses are WordPress Mastery, which is a beginner course on how to use WordPress. Now, this course is ideal for you if you're brand new to WordPress and you want to really learn the ins and outs of WordPress. So by the end of that course, you'll be very, very good at designing websites using WordPress. The second course I have is the Divi Blueprint course. Now, this is the course that teaches you how to use Divi, and this is the page builder. Now, this page builder is very, very important because it's used by design agencies, freelance designers, and hobbyists. In fact, there's over 500,000 people that use Divi to build their website. So it's a really, really powerful software that enables you to design professional looking websites. So this course covers everything that you need to know about it. And by the end of that course, you'll be very, very good at knowing how to use it and also how to design websites. The final course that I'm giving away in the bonus is Photoshop for web designers. Now, Photoshop is also quite important when it comes to web design because you need to know how to retouch and also how to resize and optimize your images for your website. So this course actually teaches you how to do that. So without wasting a lot of time, let's get started. I'm going to show you step by step how to register your domain name and set up your hosting. Now, I'm going to tell you a quick story. When I started designing websites, I had so many companies to choose from. And in fact, right now, there are so many companies that offer web hosting services. But the mistake I made is I chose a random cheap web hosting company, and that cost me a lot of time and money because the support was really bad and my website kept on going offline. So I've chosen a web hosting company that is trusted and is also really fast with very, very good support. So I'm going to scroll down over here so you can see how many websites they are hosting. And at the moment, they're hosting over 1.8 million domains. And over here, we can see that we have CEOs of very big companies here recommending SiteGround. So this is a good sign that this is really, really good. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start by clicking here on WordPress hosting because this is our base for building our website. And also by coming to this website and clicking my link that I've recommended for you, you're going to get a huge discount. So let's take a look at the discount. So I'm going to come over here and click on get started. So you can see here, this is a special price. So normally it goes for £8.95 per month. But with this special price, it only gives me $2.95 per month. So this is fantastic and this is great. Now, you can also upgrade these at any time you want later on. So you can see here, this plan only offers you one website, 10 gig of space and 10,000 monthly visitors. Now, this is what I really, really recommend if you are starting off and your website is brand new. But if you already have websites or you want to expand very fast or you want to be a freelance designer and design websites for others, this is where you want to come because this gives you unlimited websites. So you can design as many websites with this hosting plan. So you don't need to pay this $2.95 every time you set up a new website. So this is where you need to decide where you want to go. Do you want just one website or do you want to go grow big? So for those of you that want to grow big, this is the part that you choose. And also I want to show you something very important. Right now, my prices are showing in pound sterling because I'm in the UK. But if you're looking at this website from the US, or if you're from any part of the world that uses US dollars, this will show over here and you will also get your discounts. Great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to scroll down here and click on Get Plan because I want to go with the unlimited websites. So I'm going to click here on Get Plan. So this is where now you get to choose your domain name. So your domain name, as I mentioned in the first video, is very important because this is what lets people know what your website is. And as a quick analogy, this is like your postal address. So people would know how to get to your residence. Okay. So this is where now you can get to try and search for different domain names and see what is available. So if you already have a domain, all you have to do is to click here on I already have a domain. You enter your domain here and you proceed because then you don't have to use this domain registration step. But what I'm going to do now is I am just going to go in and add my domain name. So my domain name I need to register is called Learn WP Gutenberg, but I want it as a .com. So I'm going to come over here, click on .com. And you can see here my domain registration is $11.95 per year, which is great. So I'm going to click on proceed. Now, if your domain name is not available, it won't show here. So let's do a quick example. Right. So if I search for Learn Gutenberg, it's doing a quick search here, as you can see. And it tells me that the domain name that I've chosen is not available. Okay. So that's just a quick example. Right, so now that I've put learnwpgutenberg.com, I'm going to click on proceed. That's the price per year. Right, so this is where I need to enter my information. So I can enter my email address, my password. I'm going to confirm it here. And then over here, this is the client information. So you might as well enter this information here. If you have a VAT number, you can enter your VAT number here and your phone number. So I'm just going to add my phone number there. And then over here, this is where you enter your payment information. So I'm going to click here on card number, enter my card details. Next, you enter your expiration month and year. Okay, that's my CVV code. And I just need to enter my name. Right, so the billing address, if it's different from what we have here on the top, this is where you need to just change it and add your billing address here. Okay, so I've got my billing information. So I'm going to scroll down here. So this is where we have our hosting services. So you can choose 12 months, 24 months, or 36 months. So I'm going to go with 12 months, and this is going to cost me £59.40 excluding VAT, which is perfect. And then down here, you can see we have a check mark on domain registration, which means I'm registering my domain with this company. So over here on the bottom, this is where we have our final amount, which is £85.62. Okay, so I can click on I confirm, and I'd like to receive news and special offers by email. So next, I'm going to click on Pay Now. Okay, so looks like everything went well. So my order was successfully submitted, which is fantastic. So now I can proceed to my customer area. So I'm going to click here. Okay, so this is where I'll enter my email and password. I'm going to click on Sign In. Okay, great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a look at our setup here. So we can see set up our website is your first step. So I can either transfer your website or I can start a new website. So this is what we want to do, start a new website. And our website is going to be WordPress. So I'm going to click here on WordPress. And then this is where I get to set my admin email address. So I'm going to enter my admin email address here, my username, Mac admin, and I'm going to set my password. Great. So now I've entered my username and password. Now, this is very important that you remember your username and password, because this is what we're going to use to log into the back end of your website. So now that I've entered this information, I am going to click on confirm. Right. So over here, we also have quite a few options here. We can add privacy and malware with SG Site Scanner. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm also going to have a course which is going to show you how to protect your website from getting malware, viruses, and also protect it from getting hacked. So you don't need to worry about adding this and this domain privacy. This is just about when someone searches for your domain name, do you mind if people see your name and your registration details or not? So if that's something that you're worried about, you can just click on add domain privacy, but I'm just going to leave this as it is. Click on confirm. And then I'm going to click here on I confirm that I have read and agree to SiteGround terms and conditions. And then we're going to click complete the setup. So this process now is the process where WordPress is being set up on my hosting account. Great. So it says your hosting account is ready to use. And then I'm going to proceed to customer area. So this is my admin dashboard for SiteGround. So you can see here my name here on the top. I've got my details there. And then over here, if I click on my accounts, I can see here that this is my website that I've just registered. And what is also great here is it tells you when your account has been started and when it's going to expire, and also the status of your account. Now, before we continue, we can see here that our domain name has been set up. That's great. But over here, the status says pending verification. So we need to go into our email address and verify our account. So I'm going to come over here, open a new tab and go to my Gmail account. Okay, so you can see here we have our hosting account setup confirmation. So all I have to do is to click here. And this tells me how I can get to my website. So it's important that you come over here and take a look at your emails. Okay, so I'm just going to go back here and look for that verification email, and we can see it here nice and clear. Verification required. I'm going to click on that. Next, I'm going to click this URL that is in my email to verify my domain. So I'm going to click on that. Next, I'm going to click on verify information. Okay, so our contact information has been verified. That is great news. The next stage now is to go back to SiteGround users area. And this is where now we can click on this link and take a look at our website. So this website has automatically been created for us when we registered our domain name and set up our hosting. So this takes away all the pressure and headache of trying to install WordPress manually. So let's take a look at our website and see what it looks like. So I'm just going to click here and open this in a new tab. And this is our basic website. I know, it doesn't look like a lot is going on this page. And to be fair, it doesn't really look very, very exciting. So this is where in the next couple of videos, I'm going to show you how to customize your website and make it look awesome. So now that our basic WordPress website has been installed, the next thing we're going to do is to log into our admin dashboard. So I'm going to come over here and add wp-admin and hit enter. So this is where now you want to enter your username and password that we created initially. So right now, that's my username. I'm going to enter my password and then click on login. Right. So now I'm in my WordPress admin dashboard. So the next thing we're going to do now is to just go over the resources that we're going to be using in this tutorial. Right. So the website I'm going to be using here is called Pixelscom. So this website is fantastic because you can use all these images on this website on your own projects or even commercial projects absolutely free. And also I do need to mention that if you go on Google and just Google images and try and use those, you may get into trouble with the copyright. And so you do need to go to websites where you know you have permission. Okay, so this is pixels.com. I've already gone ahead and downloaded all the images that I need to use for this tutorial. The next stage now is to download Divi. So I'm here on elegantthemes.com. And as you can see here, there are quite a lot of people using Divi. There is over 500,000 people. And this is, in my opinion, the best page builder out there. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to log into my account. So in your case, you do need to purchase Divi first. So if you come over here to click here to download, this is where you have the yearly access and also the lifetime access. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you go ahead and purchase the lifetime access, I will also give you lifetime access to macuniversity.com, where you'll have access to all my courses, current and also future courses. But if you go ahead and sign up for the $89 one, the yearly access, I'll give you access to the Divi Blueprint course, Photoshop for web designers, and also access to the WordPress Mastery course. So after you've purchased this, just send me an email and I will respond and give you access to those courses. All right. So with that said, now what I'm going to do is, since I've already got an account, I'm going to click here on login. And as you can see, I'm in my members area. So what we need to do here is to go ahead and download the Divi theme. So here it is right here. I'm just going to click on download. And now it's being downloaded onto my computer. So the next thing you want to do is to copy the API key, because the API key allows you to get updates. Every time there's updates for your theme, they will automatically show on your website. So I might as well go ahead and do that. So I'm going to come over here to account, API key, and then I'm just going to copy my API key from here. Now let's go ahead and install Divi on our website. So I'm going to come back over here. So I'm already logged into my WordPress admin dashboard. So I'm going to come over here to Appearance, Themes. Right. So right now we have the 2019 theme installed by default. This is what comes with WordPress. So I'm going to click here on Add New, Upload Theme. And then I'm going to navigate to where it's been downloaded, and it's my downloads folder. And here it is right here. I'm going to double click on Install Now. So now my theme is being installed. Next, click on Activate. Okay, so what we're going to do next here is to just come over here and enter our API key. So I'm going to come over here to Divi, Theme Options. And then over here on Updates, I want to add my username. And then I'm going to paste my API key that I copied from my members area. Okay, so with that, I'm going to click on Save Changes. Now let's take a quick look and take a look at how our website looks. Right, so as you can see here, this is quite basic. So we need to go in and start designing our website. So I'm just going to come back over here on Dashboard. And then I am going to start by creating my pages. Right, so we are going to be creating 5 pages: the home, the about us, the blog, services, and contact pages. Right, so I'm going to come over here, click on add new. So let's start with our home page. In fact, I'm just going to close this. So I'm just going to call this home and then publish it. Next, you want to come over here to the top and just click on this plus button here. Oh, in fact, just hover over it and then it just gives all these options here, and then click on page. Okay, so now this allows us to add another page. So this page is going to be the about page. I'm going to publish it. Click on publish one more time. And then back over here, page. So this time, this page is going to be the services page. Publish. And then back over here, add another one. And this time it's the blog page. Again, we're going to publish it. Add another one. Now, finally, this is our contact page. I'm going to click on publish and then publish one more time. Great. So now that we have added all our pages, let's just double check and make sure that all our pages are in place. So I'm going to come over here to all pages, and we can see here that these are the pages. So what I'm going to do now is we have this sample page. Let's go ahead and delete it. So I'm just going to click here on trash, and now it's gone. So if we take a look at our website now, in fact, I'll just open this in a new tab. You'll notice that we have this menu here, but this is the default menu that comes with Divi. And we have 2 home pages here, and we also have this uncategorized category. Right, so we need to fix that. So we need to create a brand new menu. So to create a menu, we want to come over here to appearance, click on menus, and then we want to give this menu a name. I'm going to call this main menu, but of course you can name your menu whatever you want. Click on create new. And then over here, you want to make sure that you tick on a primary menu, because this assigns the menu that we're creating right now to the primary menu. Next, you want to come over here to all pages and just select all these pages here and add them to the menu. Over here, we can see that we have 2 home pages. I just want to come over here and delete this one here. And then we're going to rearrange our pages and just make sure that we have them in the order that we want. Right. So in fact, the blog should be after the services. Right. So now I'm going to click on save. And now if we take a look at our website, you'll notice that this is the order the pages are going to be. So the contact will be the last in the list. So I'm just going to refresh this. And now you can see that our menu has been created. So now that we have our menu all created, I'm just going to come back over here to the dashboard. So the next stage now is to set our default fonts that we're going to use on our website. And this needs to be done in the theme option. So I'm going to come over here to themes, click on customize. So this now takes us to our theme customizer. So over here, we can make a few adjustments. So by default, Divi comes with this font here. So we want to use our own personalized font. So to do that, let's come over here to general, typography. And then first of all, I'm just going to increase my size here to about 18. And then for my header font style, I'm going to make this bold and maybe even all caps. Right, so for our header font, I'm just going to choose my font here. And the font I'm going to go with is Montserrat. So I'm going to scroll all the way down here, select my font. And then I'm also going to assign my body font to the same font and just scroll all the way down here. Okay, I'm going to select my font. And you can see here it's updating in real time as well, which is fantastic. Now, you can see here on the bottom, it says designed by Elegant Themes powered by WordPress. You may want to change that and customize it to your own text, since we are the ones who are designing this website. So I'm going to click back over here, back one more time, go to footer, bottom bar. So for the footer credits here, I'm just going to say designed by Mac. There we go. And this is 2019. I'm just going to add my year there, 2019. And as you can see here on the bottom, now that has updated. So this is what you may want to do to just customize your website and make it yours. Right. So now that we have that, the social icon size as well, we can reduce this because they're a bit too big. So I'm just going to reduce this to about, let's say 15, and then the font size to about 15 as well. So that looks nice and neat. So with that all set, I'm going to go ahead now and publish. I'm just going to close this for now. So remember, I mentioned that I downloaded all my images onto my computer. So the next stage we need to do now is to come over here to Media, click on Library, and upload all our images into our media library. So this saves us time to go in and upload one image at a time every time we need to use it. So I'm just going to click here on Add New, select Files. So my files are here on my desktop. I'm going to double click this folder and I'm just going to select all these images and click on Open. So now all my images are being uploaded. And by the way, I'll be giving you all the assets that I'll be using throughout this tutorial. So all these images that I'm using, I will be saving them on a folder, and I will also give you access to these just in case you want to follow this step by step. Okay, so now all my images have been uploaded onto my website. So the next stage now is to just close this and let's start building our website. So I'm going to come over here to Pages, click on All Pages. And then I'm just going to click on Edit. Right, so now we have the option here to edit with the Divi Builder. So I'm going to click here on Edit with Divi Builder. So we want to create our page from scratch. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Build from Scratch. I'm going to close this for now. So the first thing I'm going to do is to add my video background. So I'm going to click here on my section settings. And then I prefer working with my section settings here panel snap to the left. So I'm just going to snap it over here to the left. And then I'm going to come over here to background and then click the fourth tab. Now this fourth tab here allows us to add our video background. So I'm going to click here on this plus button. And in my media library here, I have a video. So I'm going to click on it, upload a video. And now you can see our video has been added in the background. That's great. So the next thing I'm going to do is to start adding all my content over here on that section. So I'm just going to save this. And then I'm going to click this plus button here to add my columns. So I'm going to click 2 equal columns here. Right, so in that column, I'm going to add a call to action. So I've just typed in the first 2 letters here and you can see it says narrowed down all my modules. So I'm going to go ahead now and select that. So by default, it comes with all this content in there, but we can also adjust this and change it whenever we want. So I'm going to come over here. And this is where I get to use my dummy text. So I'm just going to copy that, come back over here, and I'm going to paste it. Okay, so I want all this aligned to the left. So I'm going to come over here to my design tab, click on text, and align everything to the left. Now over there, if every time you want to change your title or any information here, you can always also click here on this little brush tool. So this allows you to go into the design settings and make design settings to that particular item. Okay, so I'm just going to come back over here to my content and then I'm going to give this a title as well. So I'm just going to copy my title here and then back over here. I'm just going to paste it in this area here where it says your title goes here. All right, so that's a bit more customized now. So for this call to action to really work, we also need a button. So because this is a call to action module, if we come over here to link, if we want our button to show, we need to come over here to button link URL. And for now, I'm just going to add a blank URL. But in your case, you can link this to wherever you want to link this button to. And you can also customize the button and give it, a proper name. So for now, we're just going to leave it as it is. And then we're going to come over here to our background. So as you can see, we have this default color here. Now, I'm not a fan of this color, so we're going to change this and make it a custom color. Right. So what we can also do here, because we don't want to really cover this video that's happening in the background here. So you can also use transparency. So notice what happens when I click the slider and start sliding it. You can see now that our call to action is now see-through. And I think that's a really, really cool effect. So I'm just going to leave it somewhere around here, almost in the middle. As you can see here, our button is very basic. Now let's add some design to our button. So I'm going to click here on design, click on button, and then click on use custom styles for buttons. So I'm going to activate that, and then we're going to give our button some colors. So I'm going to start off here with the button background color. Click this plus button. I'm going to add my color for my button. I don't want this border width, so I'm going to get rid of that and then just slide it to 0. My text color here is fine, but I may want to maybe make that text all caps. Maybe reduce the size a little bit. So I'm just going to scroll back over here, reduce the size to about maybe 16. And we're also going to make it bold. So over here on my font weight, I'm just going to change this and set it to bold. Okay, so that looks much better now. I think I'm happy with that. So that's what we're going to do so far for our section. I'm going to go ahead now and save. Right, so what I'm going to do next is to add a new section. So I'm going to click this plus button. This is going to be a regular section with 2 columns. And in my first column, I am going to add a video. So I'm going to type in the first few letters here to just narrow down my modules. And I can see here my video is there. I'm going to select it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go into the settings, insert from URL, and then I'm going to paste my video URL here. Now, I got this URL by just going onto my YouTube channel and just finding my video, copy that URL, and then bringing it over here. Great. So now that I have this, as you can see, it looks quite busy. It doesn't really look nice. So what you can also do with Divi is to come over here on video overlay, click this plus button to add an image, and you can actually add an image to that video. So I'm going to click here on this image here, upload an image. And now you can see we have customized our video and it also comes in with the play button. So what we can also do here in the overlay is to come over here to design, play icon, and we can change the color of that play icon as well. So you can choose any color that you want to use on there. And if you come over here on sizing, you can also reduce the size of this video if you need to, but for now, we're just going to leave it as it is. All right, great. So now that we have our video in place, I'm just going to go ahead now and save. Now over here on the second column, let's add some text. So I'm just going to search for my text module. I'm going to select it. And then I'm going to come over here to Lorem 2 and copy some dummy text. Copy it like that, back over here, paste it in place. Okay, right. So that looks good so far, but we also need a title. So let's come back over here and let's choose our title that we can use for that section. Okay, so I'm going to add my title. Now it's important here that to add your title, you want to highlight the text and then click here where it says paragraph. And this will give you access to header 1, header 2, header 3, and so on. So I'm just going to add header 2 there, and you can see that it's coming in as all caps because we set it initially when we set our theme. All right, so for now, I'm going to go ahead and save, and then I'm going to add a color to this section. So I'm going to click here on section settings, click on background. Now I'm going to add a background color. So I'm going to click this plus button. So we have several colors that we can use from here. So we can try out and see which one works better. So I'm just trying out different colors here, but of course you can use your colors from your color palette. So I'm going to go with this dark one here, and then I'm going to go in and change these colors to match my design. So I'm just going to save this for now. Back over here now, I'm going to click on my module settings, and I am going to change the colors for this text to make it really stand out. So over here, I'm hovering over this paintbrush tool. So I'm just going to select it, and then I'm just going to play around with my colors and see which color I'm going to use for that. So I think I'll go with this one here. Okay. And then I'm going to click here on the next paintbrush tool for the paragraph. And I'm also going to change my color to that. Okay. So I think that looks really nice. Pretty happy with that. And then I'm going to go ahead and save. Now I want to add some breathing space here because this section here needs some space. So I'm just going to activate my chain here. And as I drag, you notice that I'm actually adding padding to the top and the bottom of this. So I think this looks really nice now. Right. So the next stage is to add another section. So I'm going to click this plus button here, click on regular. So I'm going to add a single column this time, but in that column, we are going to add some blog posts. So I'm going to search for my blog post. I'm going to select that. For now, I'm going to save because we don't have any blogs here to add onto this section. So we might as well go ahead and start adding all our blog posts. So I'm going to save this page for now. We're going to revisit it once we've added all our blog posts. So now that my page is saved, I know so far it's not complete, but we are going to come back and fix it. Okay, so let's go back into our dashboard. And this time we're going to come over here to posts, click on all posts. So as you can see, we have this default one here called Hello World. I'm going to trash that because I don't need that. Now I'm going to start adding my new post. So I'm going to click on add new. So we're going to do similar to what we did with the pages. We're just going to go ahead and say post 1. And then over here, we want to make sure we add a featured image. So I'm going to click here, set featured image. And then I'm going to start adding all my images. So my first image here is going to be this one here. I'm going to select it. And then over here on categories, I'm going to add a new category. And I'm just going to say, I'm just going to call this Happy Times. Right. So that's going to be my new category now. Okay. And now it's selected. So now that I have that, it's all good. I'm going to go ahead and publish that and publish it again one more time. So what we can also do here is we can also use the default editor and add our text. So I'm just going to copy my text from here for my blog post like that. And then I'm just going to paste it here in the default editor. Okay. Click on update. Now let's take a quick preview and take a look at how it looks like. I'm going to click here on view post. So as you can see here, it's a basic post. It has our text and people have the ability here to add a comment if they need to. Great. So that looks nice so far. Let's go ahead and add more posts. So I'm going to come over here on this plus button here, click on plus post. And this is going to be post 2. Happy Times category. I'm also going to add my image. So I'm going to go with this one this time. Publish that. Use the default editor, and then I'm going to paste some text in here as well and publish it. Right, I'm going to come over here again, click on post. And this one here is post 3. Happy Times, set featured image. I'm going to go with this one here. I'm going to select that. And then I'm going to use the default editor and paste my content, publish it. Okay, so let's add one more. And this one here is going to be post 4. Use the default editor, paste my content in here, set my featured image. And this time I'm going to go with this one here. I'm going to select it, choose my category, and then publish it. So now I've added all my posts. And if I want to view all my posts, I can always come here to all posts. And I can see here post 1, 2, 3, and 4 are now added. That is fantastic. So what I'm going to do next is to go back to my home page. So I'm going to click here on all pages, click on edit, edit with the Divi builder. Okay, so back over here, you'll notice that all my posts have now been updated automatically on that section. So what I'm going to do now is to go back in and customize this. So I'm going to go into my module settings. And over here on the post number, I'm going to set this to 4. And the category is Happy Times. And notice that if you add different categories, you can actually come over here and select which categories you need to show on that particular section. Okay, so now with that set, I'm going to come over here, click on Elements. Now on the elements here, this is where you can choose whether you want to show them the Read More button or not. So as you can see here, now that I've activated it, now it's showing the Read More. And you can also show the author or remove the author if you want. And this is this information that we have right here on the top. So you can remove that. And perhaps maybe you want to leave the date and the category. So you can just leave it as it is. But if you want to remove that, you can always remove that over here. So you can see here now, I just have the category. And I can even remove the category altogether. Now over here on design, this is where you can get to adjust your layout. So here it's full width. You can change it to grid. So now you can see that it's now a grid and that looks even much better. So with that now, we can go in and specifically customize all this content. So let's start off here with our titles. So I'm going to click this paintbrush tool. And the reason why I like using the paintbrush tool here, it takes us directly to the item that we need to edit. So I'm just going to play around with my colors here and see which color works better. So I think I'll go with that. And then over here, I'm going to leave this color as it is. I think that would be fine. So what I'm going to do next here is I'm just going to save this, and then I'm going to increase the width of this row. So I'm going to click here on this row settings, click on design, sizing, and then I'm going to use custom width, change my unit to percentage, and then I can see here 80% looks really nice. Now there's more spacing over there, which is great. So what you could also do here is to add more blog posts on here just to balance the layout out. So what I'm going to do is right now we have 4. So I want to go back over here to my content. In fact, we're in the row settings. I'm just going to save this. So I'm going to go back over here to my blog module. And instead of setting this to 4, I'm going to set this to 3. Okay, so just to balance the layout a little bit. Okay, so that looks much better now. I'm going to go ahead and save. Next, I'm going to add a title to this section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new row. So I'll click this plus button here, add a single column. And this is going to be a text module. I'm going to select that. And then I'm just going to call this latest posts. And I want to make this a title. So I'm just going to highlight it, click here and give it a heading 3. Okay, so that looks great. I'm going to save this. And then I'm going to drag this above like that. And I'm also going to give this a custom width of 80%. So I'm going to click here on design, sizing, use custom width, change this to percentage, and now it's 80%. So now you can see that it's in the same, it's got the same size. Okay, so that looks great. I'm going to save this. Now, as I look at this, we can see here that this gap here is a bit too much. So we can actually go in and customize that. And the setting is called gutter width. So I'm going to click here on row settings, design. Now, sometimes if you know exactly what you're looking for, you can just search for it here. I'm just going to search here GUT, and then it shows use gutter width. I'm going to say yes to that. And then I'm just going to reduce this to 2. So you can see here the gap has been reduced. And if you go all the way to 1, now there won't be any gaps between them. So just make sure that you set it to 2. Right, so I'm going to save that. So that looks much better now. Finally, I'm going to add a background color to this section. So I'm going to click here on my section settings, click on background, click this plus button, and I'm going to add this background color right here. So that looks much better now. I'm going to save. And one more thing before we leave this, I'm just going to reduce my padding here on the top and also reduce the padding here on this top section, because this word latest post is a bit too far from the actual post. So I think that's much better. Okay, so that's looking much better now. So we have this section here where we have our video. We also have our video background here on the top. So let's adjust this and give this a bit more breathing space. So I'm just going to activate my chain here. Just drag this a little bit so we can see more of this motorbike. Like that. Okay, so I'm going to save this. Now, what is important at this stage, because we can see here that we have all the elements that we need on this page. What is important now is to make sure that this page actually looks really nice on all devices. So I'm going to come over here to my tablet, and we can see here on the tablet that the padding is a bit too much. So this is where we want to go in and customize that. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to go into my section settings, design, spacing. So this is where we've added our padding. So for the desktop, it's fine. Now let's go into our tablet. So I'm going to click here on the tablet. And then I'm just going to reduce this as I'm seeing it here. I can reduce it. Activate my chain so my values are the same as I reduce this. Okay, so I think that looks much better at about 130. Now let's go to the smartphone and activate this chain so we can apply both settings to the top and the bottom. So as you can see, that looks much better, maybe at about 60. And if I scroll down here, I just want to make sure everything else is looking okay on these devices. So everything seems fine. Let's go ahead now and save. And what we may also want to do here is to add a background image here, because sometimes this video won't play on mobile devices. So we need a fallback image. So I'm going to come over here, click on background, click here on my image tab, click this plus button, and I'm going to add an image. Great. So now that we have our image in place, I'm just going to go ahead now and save. Now, before I move away from this, just in case you want to use this in your own designs, I just want to show you quickly how you can also add a different section here for this part. But before we do that, let's just view this page. I'm just going to exit the Visual Builder. So I'm going to save and exit. So this is what it looks like. And when we scroll down here, we also have this section here where we have this video. We have our latest blog post there. So this is our home page. So let's say we don't want a video and we just want an image in the background. So how we can do that is to, let's go back here, enable the Visual Builder. And then I'm just going to click here on my section settings, background. So where we have this video here, I'm just going to delete that. And now we have this image right here. So this is a design or a style that you may want to go with. And this also looks really, really cool. So I'm just showing you different options here on how you can customize your design. We also have another option here where we can use Parallax. So if I click on yes, we see here that we can use our true Parallax. But note that when you use Parallax, it takes away the color options that we have. So here we can go to CSS and we can actually have our website work like that. So for now, I'm just going to leave it as it is because there's so many options that we can use this design for. I'm just going to go ahead now and save this page. And let's exit the Visual Builder and take a look at this page. So when I scroll, you can see here that my Parallax is working. And that is great. Right, so this is our home page. The next stage now is to work on the About page. So I am going to come over here, click on Dashboard, All Pages, and then I'm going to click on Edit. So with the About page, I'm going to do something different here. I'm just going to look for a portrait image. So I'm just going to search here for portrait. Okay, so I'm just going to look for an image here that would work for our design. So this is where you would want to maybe add your own portrait image for your About page. So I want to go with this one here. I'm going to click here on Download Large. Okay, so now it's downloaded onto my computer. So back over here, I'm going to click on Edit with Divi. I'm going to build this from scratch, 2 columns, and then I'm going to close this. Next, I'm going to come over here to my background, click on Background, and then I'm going to add my image. So I'm going to click on the third tab, click this plus button, Upload Files, select Files, and I'm going to go with the one that I've just downloaded. So I'm going to come over here to my downloads, double click on my image, and then click Upload an Image. Right, so now that we have our image, I'm just going to go ahead and save. And then we want to add our text over here. So I'm going to search for my text module. Right, so for this text, I'm just going to say, I am Danny, highlight the text, and let's make it heading 1. But of course, right now, it doesn't look like it's really big. So let's go in and customize this. So I'm going to click here on this paintbrush tool. I'm going to increase the size like that. I think 66 is fine. And I'm also going to change my color. So let's see what works here. Okay, so let's go with this. And also we can play around with this text and give it a background or even give it some shadows. So that is how cool this Divi builder is. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to add a drop shadow to that. So now it's slightly much better. In fact, we can play around with this. In fact, this one here is better. And you can make further adjustments here like that. So I think that really stands out. Right, so that's looking great. I'm going to go ahead now and save that. And then I'm going to add some padding to this so we can see more of this image. Next, I'm going to add a section here where we can add some text. So I'm going to click here on regular, single column. And this is going to be a text module. I'm going to select that. Right, so over here, I'm going to come to my Lorem 2, copy some text from here, come back over here to my Divi builder, and then I'm going to paste my text here in my content area. So that's my content. I'm also going to create a heading from this. So I'm just going to copy, and then I'm just going to make this a capital letter P and make this heading 2. Great. So now I have my heading. But ideally, I would like this all centered. So I'm going to come over here to design, text, scroll down over here and center everything. Great. And also I can see here my paragraph is way too wide. So I also want to reduce that. So to do that, you want to come over here to sizing and reduce this to about, let's say 80%. Okay, I think that's better. I'm going to center it. And then I'm going to go ahead and save. Now, I'm going to play around with my colors now. So I'm going to click this gear icon, add a background color. So the color I'm going to use here is, I'm going to try these different colors and see which one works. So I'm going to go with this one for now, save that. Now I'm going to come in here and customize my colors. So I'm going to click on my module settings, click on design. So I'm going to start here with my body text. Okay, so that color doesn't really look nice. So I think I'll go with that. And then I'm going to save changes. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do here is to add a style to our section. So I'm going to click here on my section settings, design, and then I'm going to come over here to dividers. So this is where we can add, different styles of dividers. So my divider here is going to be on the bottom. So let's see what styles we can add. So we can add this one here. So you can see we have a slanting line there. And I think that's really, really nice. It's very subtle, but I think it looks really, really nice. But there's several that you can choose here. So there's different types you can go with. You can see here, this one is also not too bad. You can also go with something like that. So these are all different designs that you can use. But you know what? I like keeping things very subtle. So I'm going to go with this divider style. And then I'm going to save that. Now over here, I also want to add some more things. So I'm going to add some images here on the bottom. So I'm going to click here on regular section. And then I'm going to add 4 columns. So in each column, I'm going to add an image. So I'm going to select my image here. Click this area here. So the images I'm going to add are already in my media library. So I'm just going to go ahead and select them like that. Save that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to duplicate this a few times and then drag these images into the right columns. So the reason why I'm doing this is going to save me time, because now I can just go in and change this image to whatever image I need to choose. So this time I'm going to go with this one here, upload, save, click on the settings, change this one as well. Let's save that. And then finally, I'm going to delete that one and I'm going to go with this one this time. Right. So now we have our 4 images. That's looking great. I'm going to go ahead now and save. The next stage is to make this row full width. So I'm going to click here on design, sizing, make row full width. And then over here on use custom gutter width, I'm going to set this to 1. So now there's no spaces between my images. And that's exactly how I want this to look. Okay, so that's looking great. So what I'm going to do now, you notice that we have this white space here. Now, I don't want that. So I'm going to save this for now. And then I'm going to just go into my section settings, design, spacing, and just make sure I add 0 to my margins and 0 to the padding. Okay, so you can see here the space has been reduced. So I can save that. We still have this little space here and it's quite annoying. So before I go in and remove that, I just want to add one more section here to the bottom. So I'm going to click this plus button, click on regular, and then just close this for now. So now I'm going to click on my row settings and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to click here on design, click here on spacing, and we're going to remove the padding. Now I've removed the padding from the top and the bottom and you can see everything is all flash now. Okay, so that's looking really, really nice. I really like that. I'm going to save this. Right, so the next stage is to add a social media follow, because this is the about page. So we want people to be able to follow Danny here on social media. So I'm going to click this plus button, add a single column. I'm going to search for social. Okay, so we have these two so far. So let's add a few more. So Facebook, Twitter. Let's add Pinterest. Let's go back over here, click the plus button. And this time we're going to add Instagram because that's quite popular. Back over here, let's add one more. And this time this is going to be, let's say, YouTube. Okay, so now that we have all this set, we can also customize this, by the way. So let's go back over here and let's go into design, alignment. So we want this all centered. So we also want text that goes with that. So I'm going to click this plus button here. Search for my text module, select it, and then I'm just going to say follow me. Right. So in fact, that needs to be a capital letter F. Right. So I'm going to center this by coming over here to design, text, center, and then I'm just going to save that. And then finally, I'm just going to drag this to the top. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this page. So again, I'm going to come over here and add a parallax to this. So I'm going to click here on background, use parallax, and I'm going to use CSS. I'm going to save that. And there we go. So we have 2 pages created so far, and that's looking great. So we have the home page and we also have the about page. So the next stage we're going to work on is the blog page. Right, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to exit my visual builder here and let's just go through the pages one more time. So this is our home page. And this is now our about page. So let's go to the blog page. Again, we're going to enable the visual builder, build from scratch, single column. So we just want to keep this design very, very simple. So let's search for our blog posts. I'm going to select that blog module. So we can keep them this way if we need to. But for now, let's just save and let's add one more section here. So I'm going to scroll all the way down here to the bottom, click this plus button, and we're going to click on a regular single column. And we're going to add a text module in there. Right, so we're just going to rename this and call this blog and save that. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drag this all the way to the top. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to add an image in here. So I'm going to click here on background, add a solid color from your color palette. So you can go with any of these colors that they should work fine. So now I'm going to add my image. So let me go with, I'm running out of options. Okay, I'm going to go with this image here. Upload an image. Great. So this one here fits much better because we can see all the faces in here. And that is great for design. You want to make sure that you can see whatever it is that's in here in the background. So what I'm going to do now, since I have my image in place, I'm going to come back over here to my gradient and I'm going to add a gradient. Okay, so I'm going to add my color like that. And then over here, I'm going to place the gradient above the image. And then I'm just going to go in and just make some subtle changes here. Okay, so now I've added an overlay above this image that we've just added. So I'm going to go ahead now and save. And then we're going to come back over here to our text module and really make this text nice and big. So right now it's set to paragraph. I'm going to set this to heading 1. Now let's go in and make some adjustments to it. So first of all, I'm going to make this text bigger. Let's make it 60. And the color, I think I'm going to go with this one here. Okay, so the color looks great. So this is our blog. I'm going to go ahead now and save. Right, so on the bottom here, we can do several things. Let's go in and make this a grid. So I'm going to come over here to design, layout, change this to grid. So I prefer having this grid here for my layout. And then I'm going to come over here to my content. So for the accepts, yes, I'm going to click on show accept, but all this information here, I think it's a bit too much. So I'm just going to go in and remove that. So I'm going to click here on elements and just remove everything. Okay, so now I'm left with my title and accepts. Okay, great. So what you can also do here is to further stylize this and make this really look different. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to come over here to design. So I'm going to come over here to border, and I'm going to remove the border altogether because I don't want that border. So I'm going to save this for now and then come over here to my background and add a background color. So I'm going to click this plus button. So let's see if this color works. I don't think that works well. Right. So I think let's go with this dark color here. Right, so the next thing is to just make sure that everything looks great on mobile devices. So I'm going to click here on expand settings. I'm going to go into tablet view and my smartphone view. And I think these three views look great. Okay, so I'm happy with my blog page. So the next stage is to start building my services page. So I'm going to save this page, exit the Visual Builder. Right, so for the services page, I'm just going to come over here to the navigation, select services, enable the Visual Builder. This time I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go and choose a pre-made layout. So I'm going to come over here, choose pre-made layout. So we have several pre-made layouts here to choose from. So the idea here is to just go with any layout that you want and then customize it to make it your own design. So we have layouts on education, events, fashion and beauty, and so on. So we have quite a lot to choose from here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scroll down here and maybe go with the Divi construction. Click on services. So this is the page that I'm going to use for my services. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on use this layout. Right. So we have a lot of work to do here. We need to go in and change all these colors and also the text. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find and replace all this text so that I have the exact matching text for my project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into one of these text modules, click on design, text, and then over here, I'm going to right click and click on find and replace. So I'm going to click on find this text font default within this page and replace it with Montserrat. So I'm going to scroll down here. In fact, I think I can search for it. Yes, I can. And here it is. And then I'm also going to click on replace found values within every option type like that, and then replace. So now I've replaced all my normal text. So the next thing to do now is to go into my header text. So I'm going to come over here, just like what I did before. I'm going to right click, find and replace. So I'm going to find Rubik within this page and replace with Montserrat. Okay, replace. And as you can see, that is a quick way of finding and replacing and customizing a layout. Now, the reason why I chose to do it this way is for you to utilize all these pre-made layouts that we have in our Divi library. So I'm going to go ahead now and save. Right, so here's the fun stuff, because now we can go in and replace all the stuff that we have here with our own. So I'm going to click here and go to background. So we don't need this construction image here. So let's have our own. So the image I'm going to add here is, let's go with this office, upload an image. So you can see now that my image is now in the background and it looks quite corporate, which is good. Okay, so the next stage is to just save, and then we're going to come over here and work on our title. So I'm going to click here. Instead of saying our construction, I'm just going to say our services. Now the colors of this border here, let's go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to click here. In fact, one of the quickest ways to actually work with this is to come over here to filter, and then you can click on modified style. So this will show you exactly what has been modified on these styles. So I'm going to scroll all the way down here, and you can see we have this border style. So for that border style, I can change the color to our own color there, save, get a free quote, but I'm going to go in and change the colors. So again, I'm going to click on filter, modified styles, and we can see that this is the color that was chosen. Now we need to choose our own color. And then I'm going to scroll down here, choose my border color and my background color. Great. So now we have our own specific color. Save that. Okay. Now over here, we can either leave this as it is, or we can just get rid of it. So I just want to show you how quickly you can just get rid of items that you don't need here, like that. So now we have our own header area and we also have our own text. So over here, I may not need this section, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. Okay. So let me see what else I need on this page. Right. So I think latest projects here is going to be useful for our design here. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this section here because I don't need that as well. And delete this one too. And that one. So now we have latest projects, which I think is really cool. So now I can go in and change these images. So I'm going to add my own images in there, upload an image, save that. And then over here, I'm going to do the same. Click here on the settings, change my image, save that. And then finally, I'm also going to do the same here and change the image. And this time I'm going to go with, maybe let's go with this one here. Okay, so I'm going to save that. So these are our latest projects. So you can add your project title there and also links to the page where you have all those projects. All right, great. So moving on, we have our contact us here. So this area here, we don't really need, to be honest. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. And this view all, we don't need that too. So I'm just going to delete that too. Right. So now that we have our latest projects all in place, I'm just going to delete this as well. And then over here, I'm going to add a video. So I'm going to click here on this plus button. Right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on overlay, add image, and then I'm just going to add an image overlay, something that looks businessy like. Okay. So I'm going to go with that. And then I'm going to change the icon color. Okay. That looks much better, and save. Right. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to just take a look at this and see. And here we can see that this is not the same size. So ideally, we want to have two equal columns there so that the video is much bigger. And then I may also want to come in here and adjust the size of that heading. So I'm going to click here, adjust the size to about, let's say 44. I think that looks great. And then I'm going to save. So you can see here how I've managed to quickly go in, use a pre-made layout and customize it to our own by finding and replacing the fonts, and also going in and deleting all the sections that we don't need and adding all our own content. So this page now looks like it's part of our own website. So that looks great. Let's go ahead and save. So we've got one more page to create, and that is the contact page. So I'm going to come over here to contact, enable Visual Builder. So I'm going to build this from scratch. Choose two equal columns. Right. So in my first column here, I'm going to have a heading. So I'm just going to add a text module. And then I'm just going to call this send email. So now that we have this, in fact, we need to duplicate this because we also need a title over here to the right. So what we're going to do now is to add an image to this background. So I'm going to click here on section settings, click on background, click on this third tab and add our image. And the image I'm going to go with is the image of the city. Upload an image. And there we have it. Before I do anything, I'm just going to save this and let's add our elements that we need for our contact page. So I'm going to click this plus button to add our module. And this time this is going to be our contact form. So I'm going to search for it and select it. Okay, so now our contact form has been added. So we can further customize this by going in and adding all the colors that we need. So this is where we need to decide whether we're going to have this background image here very light or very dark. So I think let's have it dark. So I'm going to go ahead here and save. And then we're going to come over here to our section settings, click on background, and we're going to add an overlay. In fact, so we can also come over here and just add a background color like that. So we're going to make it nice and dark. And then if we come back over here, we can change the blend mode and set it to multiply. So you can see here that everything has gone really dark. And then you can always come back over here to our first color and then just add a bit of transparency just to show a bit of the image right there. So I think I'm going to leave it as it is. Click on save. So the next stage is to make sure that we see this full image. So I'm going to come over here, click advanced, custom CSS, and then on the main element, I'm just going to add a bit of the CSS. And now you can see this full image just by adding this 100 VH. Right, so what I'm going to do next here is to just click here on my row settings and add a bit more padding to the top. So I'm going to come over here to spacing. Then I'm just going to add about, I would say about 100 and 140. And then again, I'm just going to take a quick look and see how things look on the tablet and on the phone, and they look fine. Okay, so now let's continue and customize our contact form. So over here, I'm just going to save, and then I'm going to come into my form and make some changes to this. So I'm going to come over here to design, form and field. Right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select my color and then add a lot of transparency in there. Next, I'm going to add a border around this. So I'm going to come over here to border, and then I'm just going to add maybe 2 pixels, add my border color. And again, on the border color, I don't want it to be too much. So I'm just going to add some transparency to that. Or I may even try a different color. In fact, this looks much better. Next, I'm going to come over here to my text and also change my text color. So I'm going to come over here to my text, change my color to that. So that looks much better now. It's easier to read. And then now it's time to work on the button. So I'm going to come over here, click on use custom styles for button. And then I'm going to start with my button background color. Okay, so I'm going to go with that. Border radius, I'm going to remove that to 0. And I also don't need the border width. So I'm going to get rid of that. Now I'm going to come over here to the font weight. I'm going to make this bold, all caps. And then I'm also going to change the color. Okay, so that's going to be the color for my button. And I think the size is a bit too much as well. So I'm just going to reduce that to about 18. So I really like how that looks. So I'm going to go ahead and save. Right, so over here, I'm going to change the titles. So I'm going to click on this gear icon, click on design, and then I'm going to change my color and make this bold. So I'm going to make it all caps and also make it bold. So we may even want to increase the size here a little bit. So maybe set 24. So I think that looks really nice. So I'm just going to come over here as well and save. Okay, so let's delete this one here. Copy this. Right, so we're going to change this to address. Okay, and then we're just going to enter our address in here. So let's add another text module. So I'm going to click here on this plus button. And then I'm just going to enter my address here. Okay, so we have our address there. So we might as well go in and make some adjustments to that text module. So I'm going to go in and change my colors. So make it nice and easy to read. Save that. Okay, so now that we have our form and our address, the next thing you may want to add here is maybe an image of maybe a map. So I'm going to click here and search for my image module. I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to upload my image. Select files. So my image is on my desktop. Click upload an image, and now we have our map. So I'm going to go ahead now and save. So this is our contact page. It has our form, it has the address, and also this map. Now, to make sure that your form works well, you want to make sure that you set your form's email address. So I'm going to click here on module settings, and then I want to come over here to email, and this is where you want to add your email address. Okay, so I'm just going to add my email address in there, and that's all you need to do, and then click on save. So pretty much this is our contact page. I'm going to save this page. And then I'm going to exit the Visual Builder. So what we may need to do now, we can see here that the color that we have here on the top is really out of place. So let's go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to come over here to my dashboard, and then I'm going to go to customize. So now we need to work on the header. Okay, so I'm just going to click here on the home page. Okay, right. So header and navigation, primary header. So first of all, I'm going to increase my text size to about 16. I'm going to make it all caps. In fact, 16 is a bit too big. Let's make it 15. Right, so now that we have all that, let's make it bold. And let's add some letter spacing. So we're going to set this to 1. Now let's work with the colors. So for the background color here, let's see which color works for us. So I'm just trying out different colors here. So I think we'll go with this. And then for our active link color, I think we'll go with this color here. And now let's publish and take a look at our website. Okay, and I think that looks much better now. So I'm going to click on home. Okay, so that's our home page, the about page, and the contact page. Right, so I've noticed here on the about page that things don't really look nice here because of this top color that we've used, which is similar here. So let's go in and change that. So I'm going to click here on Enable Visual Builder, and then I'm going to change this background color and change it to this dark one here. Okay, so that looks much better now. So all we have to do is to save this and then go in and change these colors. So I'm going to click here on Design, Text, change my color. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and save. And then I'm going to change my title as well. In fact, I forgot to do that. So I'm going to click here on this paintbrush tool so I can go directly to it. And I'm going to use that as my title color and then save. And then I'm going to add a bit more padding over here, that, and then save. Okay, so I'm pretty much happy with my design now. So there you have it. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and also don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell notification. By doing so, you'll be notified when I release new tutorials. And if you have any questions regarding the process of designing a website, leave your questions in the comments box below and I'll do my best to respond to your questions. Until next time, thanks for watching and I'll see you soon.